Here's my thought, bro. All right, this whole situation is there's two. All right, you can look at it like this: the Graziano versus Hogan feud, or just me again, the public perception of this whole situation. Graziano, he got into the automobile, and from what they said, the guy in the other car at the initial police report said that they were going over, I think, over 70 miles per hour on this road. They were racing. When John Graziano got into the automobile, he was in the understanding that he was going to drag race down a street, which is illegal and dangerous. So I can't feel a whole lot of sympathy for somebody.
Fucking A, I thought you were taking the other side of the story.
Well, here's the thing with that. I thought long and hard about it, and I still want to say, fuck the I think that Nick should still do time, because that's a risk to everybody else on that road.
You're right.
He should do time.
There were mistakes made, but I think because he's a public figure, is being painted to be worse of a villain than he really is, because, like you said, as bad as I feel for the kid, he voluntarily got into the car. He voluntarily didn't wear a seatbelt. You know, he knows how Nick drives. 90% fact probably that he knew that they were going to be drag racing. Even if he didn't, he knows how Nick drives. You know how your friends drive when you get in the car with them. You choose to get in the car with them, choose not to wear a seatbelt. He may or may not have known that Nick had been drinking earlier that day, because I think they had been together all day, so he probably even knew about that. So, does it suck? Yes, it sucks. I lost my sister to an alcohol-involved car accident. It does suck. But at the same time, is Nick Hogan a bad person? No, people make mistakes. You know, he made a mistake that night.
Right.
Unfortunately, it was a bad mistake that basically cost John Graziano his life. You know, he doesn't have much of a life to live now anyway. But is it his fault? Is it, you know, does he have a moral obligation to feel like that, you know, it was his fault? No, I don't think so. Was it preventable? Absolutely. But it was also preventable on John's part as well.
Let me interrupt you right there.
All right, Dave
In the
Chimmel.
words of Dave Chimmel. Yes, that may be the case. When you're looking at the Hogans versus Graziano, they're both equals in this problem. But I think Nick Hogan should. I think he got off easy. Celebrity. Come on. I mean, I'm sure they had a high power attorney. He endangered the lives of anybody on the road. When you're drag racing while you're under the influence of alcohol, which he was underage, he shouldn't have been drinking. Period. But he had been drinking, and at the time, 2 hours later, when they actually took the blood alcohol test, he was still over the legal limit for someone of his age.
Well, that's because there's not a legal limit for someone who's under.
Well,
21.
okay, well, he was at, I don't know, I saw a number.
At least, I don't know how it works in Florida. In Kentucky, if you blow anything under 21,
but there was alcohol in the system 2 hours later, a measurable amount. He had been busted for this kind of behavior, this excessive speeding. This isn't the kind of speeding where you can say, oh, I was just in a hurry, I didn't notice. No, you're going, you're drag racing, you're going upwards of 100 miles an hour. You were clearly making a choice to make your car go that fast. It's not an accident that happens. He got busted. He had 4 tickets. He's had his license since 2006. He had 4 fucking tickets. And because he's who he is, I get mad because, some guy pulls him over. Oh, yeah, you're that kid from that reality show. He was bragging. He had the nerve to brag to some kind of racing magazine in 2007 that the last time he got busted for a ticket, he'd been pulled over 3 times during that he was driving from Miami to some other city in Florida, and had been pulled over 3 times doing speeds of over 100 miles an hour. And he thought that was so fun. He had told this street racing magazine how cool that is, that they finally got him after he got off the hook 3 times. That kind of behavior, and that kind of arrogance, I think that he needs to do his time, and he got what he deserved. I mean, I feel bad for that Graziano, the wreck. Of course, I wish it never happened. But every time that he or anyone else engages in behavior like that on the roads that other people navigate on, that puts all the people on that road, their life in jeopardy.
We just went from a Hogan show to a public service announcement about drag racing.
Here's the thing, but let me tell you, because he thinks that, I mean, he was bragging about it to this speed racing magazine.
He's an immature kid, and that's what he does.
Right.
And that's how his hobby is to drive fast.
And then, but
just
we
like Ricky Bobby and Talladega Nights.
Well, that's fiction. Will Smith and Will Ferrell, they both don't street race, I don't think. And but back to this Hogan thing then.
If you're not first, you're last.
Is that from yes, and then Shake and Bake. Rock and roll. Okay, I've seen that movie once.
Sorry, I've seen it a lot.
So, and then back to the Hogan thing then. It's that whole attitude that, you know, he's a spoiled little brat. I'm sorry, I don't have a lot of respect for the Hogans. I'm going to go ahead and put that out there. The recorded phone conversations, when you talk about that, I mean, I don't know what we want to say about it because, like he said on Larry King, which I'll agree with this part, the part that was released to the press was little snippets of it.
Absolutely.
And, of course, that's a distortion of the whole
Was it taken out of context?
Story.
Yes, it was taken out of context. But at the same time, I agree with Terry in saying that, yes, that's all public record, but, you know, there have been people, I'm sure, famous people in jail in Pinellas County, Florida, for years. And this is the first time that the sheriff has went out of his way, or whoever that went out of their way in the sheriff's department to release these tapes to the media.
Well, I think what happened was maybe it was a press, because a lot of stuff, when it's public information, if someone in the press puts forward a request, and then if enough press individuals put forward a request, then it becomes, they'll pull it and give it to the public. So I'm guessing that's what happened. It was like there was a law written at some point that said this is public information, there was a request, so they had to turn it over.
But from what, I mean, it's separating fact from fiction, which is hard to do. But from what I've heard, it was released and it wasn't requested.
Well, I don't know.
So, you know, I'm thinking that my guess is that some little person who listens to the tapes, because they listen to those tapes for death threats and things like that, drug deals going on in the prison and things like that, which is the reason they listen to the tapes. My guess is somebody was listening to those tapes and said, ooh, that's Hulk Hogan. I'm going to keep this and take this home and give it to the media and be cool. That's my guess of how it got out, but like I said, you know, maybe the media did request it. I don't know. It's
public information. You can write your senators if you've got a problem with that. The content of the tapes, I don't know how much. I mean, he's a kid. He's a boy. He's in prison.
He is a boy.
So of course, I mean, I'd be scared to death too. He was crying. You know, don't knock him for that. He was in isolation, which I know can play a lot of. I mean, that'd be a terrible thing to go through. But then for them to get on, our lawyer tricked us, blah blah blah. They put him in isolation for his own protection. They didn't do that as a punishment. They isolated him from the rest of the prison crowd because people have seen VH1. I'm sure they probably have cable in the prison. And they would take it out on him. He would risk being assaulted sexually or physically.
I disagree with the judge's decision to put him in the adult prison to begin with. You know, he's not a murderer. He's not. You know, what he did wasn't malicious. You know, there wasn't prior intent for him to hurt this kid. He wasn't, you know, premeditating. I'm gonna get John in the car so I can make him a vegetable. You know, it was an accident, and you know, I think he should be in some juvenile facility with other juveniles to his age that have gotten DUIs or whatever that they've gotten as well. You know, so in my opinion, he shouldn't have been put in the, you know, apparently he was like 2 cells down from Charles Manson. You know, I mean, really, was that for his own protection? Absolutely, but he shouldn't really, I don't think he should have been in that prison to begin with, where they should have had to have isolated him from everybody else.
Yeah, but even, I mean, we could go into corrections talk here. One or both of us may have backgrounds in criminal law. So